Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another fantastic instant reaction episode of Silo by Story Archives. I'm your host, Mario Busto, alongside
the other host, Zachary Newton. Welcome back.
We're back with Season 2, Episode 8, titled The Book of Quinn, or the never-ending paragraph of Quinn. Is it going to extend past the, hey, if you've gotten this far...
Dude, I
the game
really
is
hope
rigged.
so. Oh, if the game is rigged, if that's it, if that's the entirety of the message, I feel like I'd be losing a lot of respect for the show. Like that would have been the second letdown this season. Funnily enough, I can't remember what the first one was. I mentioned it in a few episodes ago, but no, that would suck. I mean, you mean to tell me that message is what Judge Meadows just went off the deep end about? There's no freaking way. There's got to be something more.
That would be Patrick Kennedy level underwhelming.
Yeah.
If you ask
me. About. Yeah, and he's just like still down in the down deep, just chilling. Like there's been what feels like very little movement from like a grand scale. There's been a little bit with Bernard, a little bit with Walker. Mm-hmm. But that's about it. And Lucas. Sorry, Lucas, the MVP of the episode.
I mean, Lucas is supposed to be Mr. Genius Boy, right? So, no offense, but if you're gonna go like on a rat chase, or rat race, whatever the hell you want to call it, goose chase, wild goose chase, rat chase, goose chase.
I don't know what your metaphors are coming
chase,
from, bro.
Go on any chase at all. Just a question. Why wouldn't you have started with the pact that has Salvador Quinn's name on the inside of it? Did they not realize that it had Salvador Quinn's name on it? Because was he in Meadows' apartment at the end of the episode?
Pretty sure he was, yeah, because Sims came and he's like, "You kicked my men out of this apartment." You mean to tell me you went through all of the books but the freaking pact?
So what the hell was the point of the Wizard of Oz thing? And I've been told I've been told that the Wizard of Oz and the Wonderful Wizard of Oz is not the same thing. They're two different things. I
don't know anything about that.
I have been very humbly corrected about that. Look, man, I agree with an emailer out there. And, I was listening to Quentin Tarantino on Joe Rogan very briefly. I didn't watch the full episode yet, but I will, because Quentin, there's nobody better in the world who talks about film than Quentin Tarantino. And if you don't believe me, go look it up on YouTube. He talks about like Wong Kar-wai's films, and you'll just go on a deep, you just go down a rabbit hole of whatever film he talks about. Anyways, he's talking about like TV shows and why TV shows aren't better than films, and I don't agree with him necessarily. But he does make a point about certain things, right? And he essentially says something along the lines of, like, what makes a film memorable is that everything builds up to these moments and these key moments that you remember forever. So like there's moments that stand out in a film that you'll remember forever. Whereas a TV show, it's more like a like a novella where you're getting caught up in the drama, but there's not a singular moment that stands out and sticks in your brain. And I think that that's kind of true in certain, and like my point that I'm going to kind of like connect here, is that an episode like this felt draggy. Like, you just want to have a 10-episode season, so you really drag this out. Juliette, it takes her about 3 hours to go up about 20 steps. She cures herself from the bends, like, in 20 minutes. Yeah. And it just is dragged and dragged and dragged. And I think the medium itself maybe wouldn't make the most money, but it would be better served if they didn't milk content and stretch shit. Because if you think about Juliette's content in this season that she has filmed, I would love to know how many days she had to film. I would love to know how long. I would love to know how many words she's spoken this season. I just feel like this episode and the next episode probably could have been combined into one episode. I know I'm being harsh here, but I don't like. It's the point. It's our assessment. It's literally our podcast. We're not here to like freaking butter Apple TV's buns. Like if they're doing a good job, fantastic. But This was just a lot of back and forth of crap that could have been resolved like in one episode rather than what's going to stretch into the end of the season. We probably won't find out what Salvador Quinn wrote in entirety until the final episode. Like, we will not get any sort of resolution in that. Yeah.
If even. Like, I feel like there might be a letdown coming up here where it's like, oh yeah, that was enough of a cliffhanger. No, dude, that was nothing. Like, you can't put so much importance on one freaking sentence that could be interpreted in so many different ways. Like, that's just not cool. Like, we need to go a little deeper here. And I do agree with you. Like, all in all, I thought the episode was good. It was good. It was interesting. But it does feel like it's really starting to drag. Like, there's been so little progression, especially on Juliette's side of things.
Yeah.
Oh my God, has there been so little progression? I thought she was going to be back over in Silo 18 like halfway through this freaking season, and this was going to be like a little mini side quest. No. They're drawing out her story the entire length of the season. That is nuts. She's not even in it for most of it, man.
That's the problem with the TV shows, bro, is that you have situations like this, and obviously we don't know the full details of what's going on in the drama behind the scenes. But like Yellowstone, for example, and maybe we'll do a whole Yellowstone episode about something, because I have no interest in watching the last season at the moment because Kevin Costner's not in it. But when you see a series that should probably realistically just be 4 or 5 seasons, and then they drag it to 7. No, Walking Dead is a travesty what they did with The Walking Dead. First and foremost, disgusting that they fired Frank Darabont, who was from Shawshank Redemption and all that. The season tanked immediately after season 1. The quality completely. I know he did season 2 as well, but the drop off was still significant. And then season 3 onward is just pure milked out garbage, which is why you have the main actor plays Rick Andrews, whatever, I forget his name, great actor.
Never mind, keep going.
Anyways, but the reason I'm talking like this point about milking content, I just finished Squid Game season 2. I'm not going to talk about it further.
You finished the whole thing already?
Yeah. So if you want to catch up and do a reaction episode,
preventing myself from watching more than the first episode.
Oh no! I couldn't help myself, dude. I have to. I love that show, and like the season 1 was so fun and dark, but it was such a fun watch that I had to watch season 2 all at once. But I have similar feelings about certain things. I don't want to spoil it because people probably haven't watched it completely yet. But anyways, the long story short, and we'll talk more about this on the deep dive on Sunday. This season is starting to drag storylines that could be resolved a lot quicker, and I would love Apple to take a stand on the TV side of things and not do what basic cable television does, which is drag stuff for, I know they're not doing 20 episodes, but even 10 feels like a stretch. Maybe this should have been a 7-episode season. I don't know. And by the way, I love this show, and I'm still super interested in all of the plot lines that are here. I'm not bored with it. I'm just saying they definitely dragged this episode.
Yeah, they did. But I mean, I think you make an interesting point. I feel like I wish TV shows were made like movies were made.
Yeah, film.
Right? To the point of like, look, a movie it's this one complete piece. And I feel like a TV show most of the time, it's like a small piece of the bigger puzzle, and you don't know if you're going to get the next piece because, I don't know, it's just a mess with that, waiting to see if a show might get renewed or not. And it's just drug out so much. Like, I wish we could take us, and that's why I think I was saying like earlier in the season, I really hope this is a 3-season show or at most a 4-season show. Thank God it is, but I still feel like they could have tightened it up a bit. I really do.
For sure.
I want you to take advantage of the time that you get from a TV show to go deeper on things that make sense to go deeper on, to actually have good character development, not just to stretch the dang show out and hit like a quota of 10 episodes, which I don't know.
Who knows what their thing is? Who knows? I'm assuming, look, each episode is probably paying the network more, but look, it kind of reminds me of like when I was writing for the newspaper, which I hated. I was like I was a football beat writer and radio host for the sports show, and I first got in there, and the editor gave me back my paper, like with everything was red. He's like, no adjectives, just like the language is the language, just cut to the chase, and that's how they like edit in like journal, whatever, AP style, whatever they call it. But that's kind of what this felt like a little bit, like just tighten it up a little, maybe like to your point, I agree. A film is more considered like a work of art, right? And I think that that's like bougie, snobby stuff. There's no reason. I feel like the TV medium can expand upon film in a way that obviously films cannot do, because they can take, for example, I'm like really looking forward to the Harry Potter TV series, and everyone else might be like, oh, the movies just came out, they just finished. No, but they're going to be able to expand on a novel in a way that a film cannot. But if they were to treat it like this is an epic work of art, and we're not just going to do 15 episodes to do it. Like, I think Breaking Bad is maybe the only show that can honestly say I don't feel dragged. I don't feel like they dragged anything. I feel like it was just a complete work of art, and then they just didn't take it further. Should they have done that movie after? No, they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have done that crap. No, that movie sucked. But and I bet you even Vince Gilligan would be like, yeah, if you got him like drunk and talking honestly, he'd probably be like,
yeah,
not my favorite, but they threw a lot of money at me. Yeah, that's right. They threw a lot of money at me, and yeah, and I would probably do it too. I watched it
for the nostalgia. Like, that's it. I wanted to see Jesse Pinkman in action again. Had to see that.
Yeah.
Do you think they drug out Mad Men? Because I mean,
I don't think. Well,
I know it gets a little slow
towards
the end, but it was such a good way to round out the show. Like,
no, look, man, I think Mad Men's like in the For All Mankind category for me. Like, just do 20 seasons. I can watch Don Draper for 20 seasons. Yeah. Just doing his thing, getting Coca-Cola finally at the end,
exploring the 80s.
Can you imagine freaking Don doing freaking Coke? And no, he'd probably be like 60 years old or 65 years old at that point.
Probably.
Anyways, all right, what else we got to talk about? There's so much to talk about. I think we're going a little too deep for an instant reaction.
We might be. All I know, my initial thought when I was watching this episode, more specifically when I got to the end of this episode, was Mario must have been sitting there cussing about 4 times because there's 4 other freaking people in the silo. At least. So thank you. I was right about this. I've got to gloat a little bit every now and then.
Let me get this straight. These people in the silo,
these teenagers, sorry, not people, these teenagers.
They look like, the one that she tackled looks like the youngest. The others, you could argue maybe somewhere between 18 to 25, both of them. Somewhere in that range at most. When the hell did the rebellion happen? Have they been little jits, like little orphans just running around the silo for 20 years?
I'm sure their parents or some guardians are around somewhere.
Well, maybe their parents are the dead ones that are on the floor, because those bodies are. She said these are younger bodies than the ones that are outside. So maybe those were their parents. Because if you look at these, teenagers, young adults, they would have probably been 5 years old when everything went down, or maybe younger than that. So I don't expect that they were surviving by themselves. I would like to know where they've been this whole time.
Would like to know that farm on one of the other levels. I don't know. Maybe they've been just. I mean, there's rats, so there's obviously food. There's something here.
You think they're eating rats?
No. I'm not. I wasn't saying the rats are food. I'm saying there's rats. I was about to say
that's like a last resort type stuff, man.
No, I don't. Oh man, I don't think they're sitting there eating rats. No, I'd imagine.
Would you eat a rat if you had to?
Look, if you ask me right now, my answer would be no. If you put me in a situation where I was starving to death and had nothing else in front of me, and I was like, look,
would the rats start looking real tasty?
I don't know, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know at that point. I don't know how I'm gonna act, what I'm gonna think. But I wanna hope and believe that no, I wouldn't eat it. I'd rather die.
You just die with honor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's I think it is kind of shameful to eat a rat. It'd be worse to eat a person, Like, you ever seen is it Moby Dick?
Oh,
Is it Moby Dick?
I've never read Moby Dick.
It wasn't Moby Dick. It's a movie related to Moby Dick called, I don't know what it is. Chris Hemsworth in it. Brendan Gleeson's in it. I watched it. It's like a whole thing about.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. It's on my list to watch, actually.
These whales this whale sunk them, like this giant whale. And then the sailors have to survive by,
in the heart of the sea.
The heart of the sea, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on my list to watch. I have not watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, reverting to cannibalism is also not so great.
No, but, I'd imagine...
Cillian Murphy's in it, too.
In that situation. It is... Oh, that's right. Man, I think he's the one that they eat.
Tom Holland is in it? What the hell?
Yeah, I think they eat him too.
Bro, Paul Anderson is in it too? What?
Who?
I'm watching this tonight. That's Arthur, bro. Paul Anderson?
Shoot, they just took straight up all the casting for Peaky Blinders from that
It's
movie.
literally the Peaky Blinders episode, and you're telling me they all get cannibalized in there?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. I think Cillian Murphy truly does. I think he's one of the first to go. Chris Hemsworth lives, I think, because
That's hilarious.
Because Brendan Gleeson is him. But anyways, sorry, I ruined the movie for everybody. Okay, man. We're not gonna talk about everything else. We're already 15 minutes in this instant reaction. Martha goes snitch mode. They should have listened to her. It's gone full Game of Thrones now in the silo. People are turning on people. I would have never suspected that Martha would have gone down this route. We'll talk more about that.
You know what's funny? I also didn't really expect her to fully go through with it while I was watching this episode. I was like, nah, she's gonna lead him astray in a future episode, and she literally snitched.
She might. I mean, she's crazy. She might do like a "I'll help you now and kill you later" type of thing. You know?
Yeah.
I could see that happening in some regard.
It might be now. Maybe Bernard's move was a little too much for her.
Yeah, that was a bit.
I loved his chuckle when she flipped him off, though.
You can't help but root for Bernard in this point because all the odds are stacked against him. So now I find myself
the underdog.
Yeah, he's the underdog in this whole scenario. So I kind of can't help but root for the guy. I think the most entertaining outcome would be he survives the season and everyone else dies pretty much, and he survived. Like that to me would be the most interesting thing. Like where Knox, Shirley, Martha, Sims, he throws Lucas back to the mines. Like he wins in the end. You know. That would be probably the more interesting outcome for this season. We'll see though.
I know we should save this for the deep dive, but I've just got to ask.
Just tease it. Oh.
We always talk a little bit about, God, what's the word I'm looking for? When you see like similar patterns in one place as you do another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder if what we're seeing in Silo 18. All of I guess the betrayal is in reference to anything in Silo 17.
The betrayal of what?
Walk betraying the Down Deep. Like, is there some similarities in the storyline over in Silo 17? I mean, obviously the only thing in Silo 17 is Solo and Juliette. And
the three people randomly.
Yeah.
It's like two girls and a guy, right?
I thought it was yeah, and the kid that was on the phone. I'm pretty sure it was 4 people in total.
4? Interesting.
Yeah, that we saw. So, we can talk about that more later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
It's a thought that crossed my mind. I was wondering.
Well, there's a lot of similarities, right? I mean, they always do that thing in episodes where it's kind of like poetic equals, right? You got Bernard threatening Martha to be a snitch. You got Sims, which probably this is the most important aspect of the episode is Sims approaching Lucas, right? Because what's Lucas going to do? Is he going to be scared that Sims is going to hurt him or his mother? Is he going to now wonder, maybe I shouldn't be giving information to Bernard too quickly? Because look, let's face it. I also agree with Sims in a bit here. I think Bernard probably throws Lucas back to the mines or kills him after he gets what he needs out of him. If I had to guess. But
maybe.
Bernard's so unpredictable. Bernard, Tim Robbins has really created a fantastic character with the way he acts. Bernard,
character of the show.
He's truly is the best character in the show, 100%. You really never know where his mind is at, 100%. By the way, Shirley at the end, if she doesn't pick up from context clues that
my God, I know. I wrote, is she that blind?
Yeah. In Walk, I really think there might be a snitch while Walk is barely. Well, Walk looks like she's seen the living incarnation of, McLean's ghost. So Walk, did something happen? The Walk was just a bit too much for my old bones. Give me a break.
I know. Anyways. I was rolling my eyes hardcore.
Maybe I
used some expletives in that sentence. I mean,
maybe that was the point, though. Maybe it was that Shirley is going to catch on because, just to my point of the young silo dwellers that have been hiding all season just to ruin my bet. I bet you they weren't even in originally. They just kind of superimposed them at the end because the creators of the show wanted me to lose the bet.
No, yeah, that they are listening to the podcast.
They are. They're like,
Mario is such a dick that we're just gonna throw them in.
We're gonna mess up his bet at the end.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to kind of dive into when we get into the deep dive, but I think that'll about do it for the instant reaction.
Yeah, that's it. Make the people tune in on Sunday. Make them tune in. We're gonna do to you guys what they did to us in this episode. We're not going to give you as much as we can.
We're going to milk it out.
We're going to save it for the next episode because we totally could just do this in one episode, but we're going to split this into two. So we're being real hypocrites here. Let's end the instant reaction, though. Oh, hey, by the way, happy New Year, y'all. This is the first episode.
Happy New Year. This is the first episode of the year. I forgot about that.
2025. Yeah, so.
I'm going to have to get used to saying that and writing it down.
Yeah, I think I've messed it up a few times already. So
it's literally day 2, bro.
I know. It's crazy.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Silo by Story Archives. You can find this anywhere you find podcasts, Apple and Spotify podcasts primarily. You can find us on
YouTube. YouTube's murdering it.
It is. It's been growing like crazy. I mean, I feel like it's like a hockey stick. Every time I open up the app, it's like, you got more people. So thank you. Thank you for everybody that's listening, subscribing, liking, and commenting on these posts. Please share it. Your support is much appreciated. So anyways, if you're not checking us out on those channels, you can visit a website at soapbox.house, email us at contact@soapbox.house, and we do have links on our website to our other social profiles if you want to, see what's up there.
If you've made it this far, we have a deep dive on Sunday. That's what's going to be in the end of the Book of Quinn. It's just going to say to tune into Story Archives.
The Book of Quinn. Wait until season 3.
Yeah. All right. See you guys on Sunday.
Peace.